Hello, friends. This is Josue Batista, and I am glad to be here this Friday, October 2nd. And thank you for joining me today on this event. I just want to check and see. I think already a few friends have joined me, and I do appreciate that significantly. Please, this presentation is going to be available. If you want it, if you find it valuable, send me your email and I will share with you the PowerPoint presentation. So thanks again for joining me today. So we have a very interesting topic for today, and is about the building your RPA, Center of Excellence. And I think this is a very important topic because number one, it's going to add value to you. And secondly, I hope that what we cover today is going to help you sell your RPA Center of Excellence at your organization, which is sometimes the most difficult aspect of the whole thing. So thank you for joining me again, and let's go right over the topics and the intention of this presentation. Pretty much the idea here is we're going to have an overview of the Center of Excellence, what the concept is, how you get smart at your business in terms of selling your Center of Excellence, as a way to standardize and formalize the practice of remote process automation, or RPA. And again, I hope that this presentation helps you have the discussion points and the framework so you can bring that to your organization. For some of you that don't know who I am, I have been in technology and business for a significant amount of years. I love technology, I love business. I think it's important to have both of them in order to create value. I started this video blog in 2008, and I have found this the best way for me to learn and share at the same time. And frankly, over the last few years, I've been exploring an idea with a couple of friends to bring some formality to this, like a center of excellence for digital transformation called Pixport CDX. And that has been an effort and a vision of mine and others over the last few months. So RPA, remote process automation. Well, the trend is there. As you can see, especially in 2017, mid-2017, there was a spike on the interest of RPA to the point that pretty much have been steady in the 75-100% number of searches related to this topic. So there is significant interest. But more than that, I think it's important to know where the money is going. And always say, follow the money. And if you follow the money, you're going to find that just in this year, $1.5 billion were spent in RPA software, independently of COVID. That is a significant increase from the previous year. And also that implies that, according to Forrester, we're going to reach close to $3 billion in 2021. So it is a big business. It is growing at a significant pace, and is primarily growing in the banking, insurance, utilities, and telecommunications, but it is expanding to other areas again. So some of you, thank you for joining me. I see that a few friends, and if you can just ping me in terms of this, where are you with your RPA, with your remote process automation journey? If you can just quickly tell me, are you on a one through 5? Are you unsure where to start? Or number 5, you are fully implemented with RPA? If you can just ping me quickly, where you are with your RPA, that is going to give me an idea as to who the audience is, and also how can I tailor perhaps the conversation from that perspective. And the same topic, tell me also, where are you with your Center of Excellence? Are you at a 1, basically not sure where to start? Or are you a number 5, fully implemented with your Center of Excellence? So please, if you could, let me know, and we'll tailor the conversation in that direction. So moving forward, I think the topic structure is going to be very simplistic. We're going to have a lot of material. Again, this presentation is available. I'm more than glad to share it with you. Please send me your email, and I'll make sure that you get this presentation plus additional exclusive content from the Pixport Center for Digital Transformation. So pretty much we're going to do an introduction. We are going to explain the framework that you can use in your organization to start your Center of Excellence selling proposition, which is from the people and systems perspective. And then I want to share with you a few overview of just business cases, just to give you an idea as to what people are successfully doing with RPA and Centers of Excellence. So you can use that perhaps as a way to motivate people to engage with you and support your efforts as a leader in RPA in your organization. So let's start with the introduction, about RPA. In very simplistic terms, I love this definition. It's very simplistic. It's software, right? RPA is remote process automation. It's software robots or agents. And I think the idea here, the term robots, means that there is some degree of intelligence, programmable intelligence. We're not talking about artificial intelligence here. We're talking basically the ability to do programming that actually interacts with systems, with applications, in order to either create repetitive tasks in a streamlined way, or run batches, or perform activities that typically a human would be performing in a more effective and efficient way. So that is pretty much in the bottom line what RPA is. And of course, that goes along with different initiatives or larger fields. For example, business process management. That kind of is in alignment with RPA. Another one that is also very close to RPA is business process automation and business process outsourcing, workload automation, job scheduling. All those are related fields, but I will argue that RPA is in its own field. It can support each one of those fields effectively, but I think you need to categorize it on its own in order to gain the support that you are looking in your organization. Also, just as a background, just for you to understand where are you in terms of your organization, because each organization is different. Every person, every vision that you have could be different depending where you are inside an organization. So just to give you an idea, there is this called a continuum of automation. It can go from a personal productivity in one end all the way to enterprise automation. And I think you need to find your niche there. You need to find a place where you can find the most effective use and application of RPA. Please don't try to do it all. Don't try to go completely enterprise RPA, because that is a recipe for failure. The best is to start with the small pilots, and then for those pilots, pick quick gains or wins. And as you win, then your winners projects are going to help you to create that validation. So just in terms of individual teams, business applications, and systems infrastructure, those are the three macro levels that you can narrow in your efforts for RPA and Centers of Excellence. And just to give you one more level of detail, in order just to give you thinking about this and having discussions, when we're talking about individuals and teams, it's more robotic process automation. When you're talking now business application, that goes beyond remote robotic process automation. It goes more, because it's more complex, right? Now you are dealing with apps that perhaps you need to have some sort of API or connectivity to that app. If you go even further into that, you get into enterprise job scheduling. Now if you want to be in that space, now you're talking about infrastructure, the people who really run the systems, IT automation, monitoring for security, for example. There is a lot of automation that can happen there. So as you can see, depending when you are or where you are in the organization, there are opportunities to bring some degree of automation. Now, for robotic process automation itself proper, the best place to start is individual and teams, because it's readily available. You can visualize and test scenarios for value and growth quickly. I suppose that if you are in business trying to go to the IT, that may be more complicated. On the other hand, if you're already in IT, perhaps you can start right away in the middle, move on to more complex ways of automation at the systematic level. So just for some friends have asked, what is a robot, right? What are these software robots? So essentially, these robots are software, right? So software agents, and they run on a computer, a desktop. They could be running on servers. They could be dedicated virtual machines. You can have a dedicated virtual computer in the cloud in any of the services, either internal or external, in a secure fashion, performing these activities. And the idea here is that there are basically two categories. You have a category that is a front office bot, which is something that is customizing or customized to an interaction of user interaction with an app, with a browser, for example. There's plenty of automation for testing in that realm, or it could be also in the back end, right? So there's back office bots or robots that run in the background, performing, for example, analysis on security logs to see if there are being any intrusions. They could be some others performing batches, right? Perhaps in claims processing. It could be bots that are automatically going and classifying claims depending on the format that is used, right? So all those are examples of front office, back office, just to give you an idea so you can narrow down where you can apply this type of automation. And then when we go into the enterprise side, the enterprise automation side, now we're talking at an enterprise level, right? That is more not only longer term in terms of vision, but also larger in scope. And again, here's the progression that I want you to start thinking about. As you get an understanding of remote process automation or robotic process automation, and you get a better understanding of the opportunities within the realm around you, at some point you need to start thinking from an enterprise perspective. And that is where the key success factors there are: you need to bring solid expertise. You need to leverage the best practices, for example, right? You want to use best-in-class technology. You want to be scalable, flexible, able to grow as things go, right? Have a clear path for return on investment. Also, analytics. How would you know if you are successful if you don't have the data and the way to analyze that data? And also, as you are going and automating things, make sure that you do it in a secure way so you are not opening yourself for security issues. And at the same time, make sure you include audits so you can see through logs what is happening and you can analyze problems or analyze opportunities for efficiency. Now, every point that I have described there, if you have done a center of excellence before, that is what I'm talking about. Those are the foundations of a center of excellence. So that short recipe that you see right there is going to help you to understand the context at the enterprise level. So just to summarize at this point where we are, we got an understanding what robotic process automation is, right? It's software that runs across a continuum. It could be at the individual level all the way to the enterprise level. In all cases, the idea is to bring efficiencies, streamline processes, and do things faster and more effective. However, as you progress in that, you need to start thinking, how do I apply this into a center of excellence foundation? And that is what we are going to do now. By the way, I have some friends here. Harold, thank you for your comment from Namibia. Harold is here. Thank you, Harold, for attending the event today. Much appreciated. So let's move on now to the next topic here, which is basically the framework. I want to share with you a framework that I have used in the past that have been extremely efficient. There are plenty of frameworks out there. Feel free to use whatever fits more your particular situation, your organization, but this is just an idea, right? So let's go over this. And first, the why, right? We understand already the what, but why? Why do you want to have a center of excellence? What are the key success factors here? Well, here are the points that you want to bring to your management, right? First of all, enterprise automation is not optional. It's happening. To some extent or another, if you want to remain competitive, you need to bring robotics into your processes, right? Also, you don't want this to go on a structure. You don't want the organization to start some robotic process automation in inventory, and then a different team in system is doing robotic process automation with testing, and a different team is doing now robotic process automation in customer service. You want a coordinated effort because that is going to help you to standardize the success factors right there. So the longer you wait, basically, the most difficult will be to standardize the effort, and this need for guidance and planning upfront. That is quite important. And if you don't have a solid strategy, you're exposing yourself to confusion, perhaps regulatory issues, and even security risks. You don't want that. You do not want that in your organization at all, right? So having an RPA will accelerate that progress, right? Will bring revenue streams, customer satisfaction, savings, whatever your metric is for success. You have better chances to achieve that if you have a center of excellence. So keep this in mind whenever you're having these conversations with your management, when you're placing that framework as to how this is going to work. Now, I presume the next question from your management is, well, how this is going to work. So let's move beyond RPA, right? So let's go a little bit more into what the value proposition is, growth strategies, and the vision for this. And the framework that I want to share with you is basically the foundation of this is the infrastructure, then best-in-class processes. You want to make sure that you accomplish that, the best in class. Then you have to have the right people, right? So power teams are extremely important in any center of excellence. And then governance and metrics are then the key cornerstone, the top stone, the capstone that you want to place into your center of excellence. Now, in my experience over the years, I have seen that center of excellence tends to be people-oriented or systems-oriented. And that is perfectly fine. I would suggest for you to select one of those views, or perhaps a mixture of the two. But if you concentrate on one, that is going to help you better to be more successful, because now you have a clear, more clarity as to what your next steps are. So when it comes to people and systems, for example, at the infrastructure level, people, the core team, right? Now, when you're in the systems area, that's about capability, securities, and analytics. Automation, best practice templates when it comes to processes, power teams. Also, you can have different views of that from people or systems. The same goes with governance and metrics, right? So you can have different views for that. And that is okay. We're going to go a little bit more in detail with each one of those. I know that we have a limited amount of time, but over the next 10 minutes, we're going to cover each one of those from a people perspective and from a systems perspective, so you can have a better idea which one of those two fits better in your organization. So let's start with the people, the people information strategy view. Let's start with that first, right? What are the components there, and what are my suggestions to you to have as a kind of a checklist, right? So you can go through that checklist and see what are the questions that are relevant in that realm, what are the items that you must have, and what are the considerations, right? The what and why, what is needed to have the center of excellence from a people perspective, and why is that important? Remember, the whole objective is for you to bring something to your management so they can see the value of having a center of excellence, as opposed to just doing RPA, right, as a project, which is great, but if you already have planted a seed in front, it's going to help you significantly. So the first step, of course, like in any other, is to build a core team. It's extremely important that you identify people who are passionate, not only about robotic process automation, but also about the idea of having a way to standardize success, a way to centralize the source and end source of success for your effort. So start with that. Identifying passionate people. You are one of them because you're already here. That's awesome. But identify perhaps 2 or 3 people in your organization that also feel or share your views as to RPA and Center of Excellence. Then identify pain points, perhaps manual processes that could be enhanced. Then create just a high-level list, and then start gathering an understanding, right? What is there? Why is that done that way? Keep in mind that sometimes is the best understand something is to start with what and why. What is that process doing, right? And why is doing it that way? You'll be surprised if you ask why not only one time, but 2, 3, 4 times. Within as you go deeper into a process, it's going to help you understand what the constraints are, what the opportunities are, what the limitations, etc. And then start also doing some research on tools. I am not big on tools. Frankly, there is many tools out there. I will leave that for the end in terms of selection, but start exploring what is out there in the market so you can have a better idea of the opportunities. And then engage others and build workflows high level to understand what is going on. Then once you have that just the core team and just an idea as to what potential opportunities are and what are the what and why of those opportunities, then I will suggest for you to start engaging with the end users. And that is part of your plan, right? So when you're presenting this plan to management, you say, okay, this is our first step, right? Now, our next steps, we're going to engage with the end users. And here are the objectives, right? So the idea is to recruit people who are very close to that process, and they perform that activity on a regular basis. And then start, analyzing a little bit more. What are the pain points? What are the manual tasks that they perform? What are the requirements? How can you prioritize this? What weights and system are you going to use to prioritize, right? Add more details to the workflows that you started in the previous step. And then at this point, it's good to start talking to the IT, right? IT and business from a management perspective, just to gather their thoughts and also support eventually. Also, I have found that it's a good idea to find power users, right? Power users are those people who really see things from a macro perspective. They know the system extremely well. They take care of the most complex tasks. If you are in a manual environment, you know that there is 1 or 2 people that they always take care of the most complicated claims, for example. If there is someone who is very good at claims processing because they know the tweaks, they know how the system works better than average, and find them, right? And they more than likely are going to be more than glad to share with you their point of view and share key success factors for you in your organization to get your center of excellence. So don't forget that. Find those power users because they are going to be your allies when the time comes for actually implementing and testing some of these RPA initiatives that you're going to come up with. The next one is, of course, business analysis is important. So make sure that you also leverage your business analysts because they can bring some formality to the way that you are presenting. Also, the tools that they use are very standardized. You want to leverage that. You don't want to reinvent the wheel. So when it comes to documentation, mapping as is and to be flows, logical design, flowcharts, using Visio or any other tool, business analysts can help you significantly. So get a friend there in your business analysis team as well. And then this probably is down the road. Once you have a better understanding and you have selected a area that is going to be fruitful for you, very successful if you get automation in place, then it comes to the implementation, right? The operation team can actually bring some degree of reality as to what you're doing, right? Because the operation team has metrics that they have to fulfill. They are the ones who get either rewarded or not punished, but they suffer, right, if there are issues with production, with operational production. So you don't want to create, unnecessary stress in that area. They are not always technical people, but they perform the day-to-day activities. So make sure that you also include them in your scope of stakeholders when it comes to your center of excellence for RPA. And then find a reliable programmer. I think it's good to have a friend in the technical system. If you're not a technical person, find someone in IT, buy them lunch, coffee. I know with COVID you cannot do that. Send them an Amazon or a Starbucks card for them to have coffee, and you can have a Zoom meeting over coffee. And try to understand also from the system perspective what the opportunities are. If you have someone that is passionate about RPA and they see that also as a career path for them, get that person engaged, and that will certainly help you as well. And then finally, if you are not an evangelist, find one, right? You're going to need that as well in your organization. And also, of course, technical, in addition to the technical, operational, and business analysis, don't forget you need a business sponsor. So all this is preparing you to present all this to a business sponsor so they can actually help you. So again, this is a path that is going to bring credibility to your committee. It's going to bring a path and a plan. It's going to show that you have done your due diligence. And when it comes to the systems area, I think it's important to understand that there are different approaches to automation. You want to understand that from a systematic perspective. Like, for example, this diagram here shows you the different types of automation depending on different approaches and questions. And I think if you have an understanding of this at a high level, it's going to allow you to have better conversations with the people who are in the system side. If you're already in systems, you need to understand the RPA context and help them. If you're in business and you need to help the IT organization, then it's important that you get an understanding of the interfaces, the APIs that they use, the user interfaces, the application monitoring that they use. Get an understanding at a high level, because that is going to help you a lot. And then there are some worksheets here you can use. There are plenty out there. This is one that I suggest to use that have different criteria to filter the different processes that you could automate and assign a weight to them, so you can determine priorities, for example. That is one example. And also, when you're doing an evaluation of manual tasks, here are some of the items that you can include in your analysis. So the more you bring to the table from that perspective shows that you are prepared to have this conversation. And again, the idea here is to have a centralized location for all your requests about automation to be there all the time. So in that way, you are providing the guidance, you're providing the standardization, the formality, the best practices, security, risks, assessments, etc. And that goes back to the worksheets. This is, for example, a worksheet for automation use case. You don't have to use this one. There is plenty out there. But the whole point is that you need to bring some formality to the process. And of course, there are plenty of question marks and questions that you can ask related to the user interfaces. For example, background automation. This is a list of items that you can use to have those conversations. And again, garbage in, when you're establishing clear expectations up front, garbage in, garbage out, make sure that you understand what are the constraints and make sure that it's clean from the input perspective, so you can have a way to bring clarity and transparency to the entire process. Also, be aware that automation processes are going to evolve over time. It's not going to be a constant. There's going to be some ups and downs. Make sure you keep your team focused on what is important. Keep meetings going, keep progress and process and reporting in place, because that is going to allow you also to be more successful. And there are some cases here that I want to share with you real quick. 3 business cases or case studies that I brought for you in terms of the areas of automation: IT services, human resources, data extraction, claims processing, accounts payables, and call centers. all those are areas or prime areas for enterprise automation. And I want to share with you just one business case, right? Just want to study these two more. Again, if you want to have this presentation, I can send you over and you can see the other two business cases. But we are pretty much right now at the end of our time together. But Union Investment is a company in Frankfurt that manages credit unions, and they had a challenge. The challenge was campaign management. They want to personalize and do more timely communications. And they implemented the idea was to implement an intelligent solution, with multi-channel delivery, being flexible, allow for versioning, include a physical delivery because they're actually delivering communications to their constituency, to the stakeholders. And what they did was they basically implemented automation, and now they can be more efficient in terms of influencing their customer base. They can do upselling that was not available before because now they can personalize the communication to a particular individual. They can do full review and approval, segmentation targeting as well. And most importantly, as you know, in Europe, also in the US, but in Europe in particular, you have to be very careful as to reaching out to people with any notification or any emails or any communication in the mail. So that was great for them. They achieved a significant amount of success, and you can do the same. So there are two more case studies in my PowerPoint. Again, it's available for you. And the whole intention here is that pretty much over time, you are going to find that it's not going to be easy, right, to get there. I think over time, you're going to find that is the best approach that I have found is to prepare yourself first, right? To do all this preparation, understand the framework, work with the people inside the organization, find allies, find people that think like you in terms of Center of Excellence and RPA, and that is going to allow you to create a good, solid value proposition to your management as to what a Center of Excellence is for RPA and why it's needed. And that is pretty much the whole intention of this presentation, to give you the tools so you can be more successful on this. And finally, I want to just tell you that over time I have been helping a lot of organizations to do this kind of work. So if you need any assistance, if you need any feedback, just to have a conversation, please reach out. I'm always available to have a conversation. I love this topic about digital transformation, applying best practices. So reach out because this is a topic that I think every one of you that registered today for this video conversation is a leader in that aspect because you're taking the first steps to get there. So that is all for now, friends. It has been great being with you today. Have a great weekend, everybody. And as I always say, until next time, cheers.
Hi, I am Josue Batista from What and Why First. I created this video blog to share with you my thoughts about relevant trends in leadership, strategy, innovation, and value creation. If you want to watch more videos, make sure you follow my blog so you never miss any of my new videos with more tips about technology and business. And if you are already a senior leader in charge of making decisions in your organization, and you would like to put some of these strategies in place for yourself, go to josuebatista.com and learn how I can help you.